Hello, my name is Zara, and this is a somatic tracking meditation for pain. Start by taking a nice deep breath into the belly, settling into this moment and settling into your body, noticing if there's anything you can do to make yourself even just 10% more comfortable. And we're going to start by slowly sinking into the sensation where you are experiencing the pain. If there are multiple spots in the body that are experiencing this, choose the one that stands out the most. Know that this meditation may not be appropriate if you're experiencing pain more than 8 out of 10, as it's going to be a little bit harder to remain neutral with the pain. If that's the case for you, you may want to find a comfortable distraction. Otherwise, tuning into the sensation and starting to observe it objectively. You can start to describe what the sensation feels like. Does it have a color, a shape? Can you sense where the borders are of this sensation? How would you describe it? Think about describing it not in terms that are colorful, but objective. So instead of using harsh imagery, like I'm being stabbed or feels like fire, I would like you to instead think about how you might describe this objectively. Is it aching? Is it burning? Is there pressure? See if you can use words like this to describe the sensation. And just notice if you can bring a sense of curiosity to the sensation. You might imagine that you are snorkeling around and observing the sensation the same way you might observe fish, coral, sea life. You're not trying to change it or influence it. We're not going to make it go away or fight it the same way that you wouldn't try and fight a fish that you're watching while you're snorkeling. We're just watching, just observing, and noticing. As you start to pay attention in this objective way, does the sensation start to shift or change? Sometimes when we give the sensation the attention, it might start to get a little bit, or it might start to move. It might even disappear all of a sudden. Another sensation might pop up somewhere else. Whatever happens, simply observe. See if you can just put yourself in the observer state. And as you observe, let yourself know that this signal, this amount of pain, this amount of sensation is a bit amplified. That your body does not necessarily need to produce this much protection. There's a little bit of a misunderstanding between the deep, unconscious parts of your mind, like your amygdala, fear center, and your prefrontal cortex, the rest of your body, with how much protection you need right now. Pain is just protection. Pain prevents us from hurting ourselves more. And if you've had pain for longer than 3 months, it's pretty likely that you don't need that much protection in that spot anymore. The tissues are probably quite healthy. So seeing if you can lean into this idea, it's sore, but it's safe. It hurts, but it's not damaged. These sensations are harmless. Yes, they may be very uncomfortable and they probably hurt a lot, but these sensations themselves are kind of like a dog barking at everybody going by, sending out this huge alarm when we know that we're safer than that. Stronger. But the body is capable of so much more than that. Repeating to yourself, I am safe enough. Thank you so much for trying to protect me, body. In this moment, I actually don't need this protection. And then I want you to see if you can expand the mind a little bit. Checking in to see if there's somewhere else in the body that has a sensation that feels pleasant or neutral. So for some people, you might tune into your toes, your nose, your ears, the tips of your fingers. Is there somewhere else in the body that either feels a little bit comfortable or even just neutral? Can you tune into that part for a moment? Your brain is going to really want to pull you back to the part of the body that we initially started with that has this uncomfortable sensation. That's normal. Again, it's like that dog, it's trying to get your attention. And we're just letting the body and the brain know we're safe enough to not need to pay full attention to that right now. And we'll come back to it. We're not ignoring it. We're just shifting to see what else is present right now. So letting the brain know, I'm choosing to focus on this pleasant or neutral sensation for a moment. And just sink into that. What does it feel like to pay attention to other parts of the body that aren't experiencing this sensation in this moment? And remember, we don't have to do this exercise perfectly. Check, trusting that you are doing a great job. So sitting with this pleasant or neutral sensation for a little moment longer, just noticing what it feels like. Noticing maybe the touch of the air, temperature of the air, or maybe the touch of a blanket or your clothes in that area. And just exploring that the same way you were with exploring the fish in the other area. So it's kind of like you're just snorkeling on over to a different fish and you're checking that one out for a moment. And all of them are benign. None of them are dangerous. And then you can imagine kind of moving back to this exploration, this curiosity, this interest with the initial unpleasant sensation. And as you turn back toward that, has it shifted at all? Has it changed? Remember, the goal is not to get rid of it or ignore it or change it. But sometimes when we observe it objectively like this, it might shift or change. So just noticing that. Just checking in with what that does in the body and the mind. And know that what we're doing here is rewiring the brain, rewiring the nervous system, reprocessing these pain signals that might be turned up a little bit. The nervous system quite sensitive to these areas. We're teaching it that it's okay to observe this in a completely different way, and this rewires the brain. We're also teaching it that other sensations in the body are equally worth paying attention to, so that the body isn't weighting this one area that's chronically hurt. Taking a deep breath into the belly, and just noticing how this quick meditation has shifted anything for you. And I recommend coming back to this every day if you can, because neuroplasticity requires repetition. And if you want to start shifting the pain, we have to start relating to it differently. That's the power we have to rewire our nervous system. Starting to come back into the room around you, you might wiggle your fingers and toes, and whenever you're ready, you can open the eyes.